Hello, welcome to today's video, which is my favorite tips and tricks for working with polymer clay. This is just stuff that I have figured out over my years of working with polymer clay, and also techniques that I commonly get asked about in my videos. So let's get into it. Now, if you are not a newbie, then you probably already know this, but I definitely did not know this right away when I very first started working with polymer clay. So for those of you who may not know, you can actually bake polymer clay multiple times. So what that means is that you can make something, bake it, add more to it, bake it again, add more to it, bake it again. You don't need to worry about it burning because it won't burn. If your clay is burning, it's not the cook time, it is most likely the temperature. The temperature is too high. Now, this is one of the reasons that I really love working with polymer clay, because I often will make, for example, this trinket dish that I'm making in the background here, and I will bake it, take it out, and then fill in this crack down the bottom, bake it again, and then add more details and bake it again. Because the clay is so soft, I wouldn't be able to flip it over and fill in the crack underneath without completely squishing the whole piece. So it really does come in handy. Something to note about this though, however, is that some clays I've noticed will slightly change color the more you bake them. I use Sculpey Primo, and I noticed that when I do like a light purple, when I bake it multiple times, the color starts to go slightly more warm. It doesn't happen with all colors, but it's just something to be aware of if you have sections of your piece that are baked more than other sections. My second tip is to use a hole punch on polymer clay. I try not to buy new cutters every single time I need to make a new shape. I just try and make do with what I have, which is why I came up with this in the first place. You can get hole punches in all different shapes and sizes. I already had a star and a heart, so those are the only two shapes that I've tried. Now, obviously, hole punches are made to punch through paper, cardboard, whatever, so you have to do this on baked clay. So do a really thin sheet of baked clay, and then you can just hole punch right through that. Then you'll be left with tiny little stars or tiny little hearts or whatever shaped hole punch you have of little baked pieces of clay. And as I already said before, you can bake polymer clay multiple times, so I just press these little stars into something unbaked that I'm making, and then I bake the whole lot together. Are you sick of dust and dirt and fingerprints? Well, guess what? You can just clean them off with acetone. I think a lot of people already know this, but I know some people don't, because I often get questions about how I get dust and fingerprints out, and this is how. Now, I'm just starting off here by showing you a nice, lovely close-up of all the dust and dirt in this piece, and I am going to be taking all of this out with acetone. Now, this item here is already baked. You shouldn't use acetone on unbaked clay because it's a little bit too harsh. Basically, the way it works is that it kind of eats away at the clay a little bit. So when you have little pieces of dust and dirt just stuck on the surface like that, as you rub over them with acetone, it just kind of releases them from the clay and you can wipe them away. Now, you actually can do the exact same thing on unbaked clay, but with rubbing alcohol, not acetone. Rubbing alcohol is not quite as strong, so if you want to get the dust and dirt out before you bake it, you can use rubbing alcohol. Personally, I don't really like doing this. I don't want to mess around with the shape and potentially squish the item, so I just like to bake it and not worry about the dust and dirt until afterwards. Some things to note about this method. This is good for like surface level dust, but if you have dust that is kind of like really buried into the clay, it's not going to be able to get that out without really digging a hole into the clay, because as I said, it does eat away at the clay. If you have any pieces that are really buried in there, it's best to get them out before you bake it, and then you can like patch up any dents or holes in the clay. Next, try to minimize using too much acetone, especially if you are not going to be sealing it with a gloss sealer or anything like that, because it leaves like a white residue over the clay if you use too much of it. I always seal my pieces with a gloss sealer though, and when I put the gloss sealer on, it gets rid of that white residue, so this is not really a problem for me. My next tip is to not use this method on a piece of clay where you've done like an ombre or something similar, because it will mess up the ombre. As I said, it eats away at the clay. So like once you start wiping acetone over it, it starts to expose the layers underneath where it's not like perfectly ombre, if that makes sense. It just messes up the ombre. It doesn't look good. Okay, let's talk about creating and using your own stencils as an alternative to using a clay cutter every time. This is actually a really great tip for beginners, because when you start out, you don't have a lot of polymer clay cutters. But also, if you're just like me and don't buy a lot of cutters, I don't love buying a new cutter every single time I need a new shape. I have the basics, but everything else that's a little bit different, I will make my own stencils. While I talk about this, in the background, I'm going to just be showing you some of the different things that I've made using stencils rather than a cutter. There are a couple of different ways that I like to do this. The first way is I basically just draw the shape out on a piece of paper, cut it out, and there's your stencil. Then I just pop it on the clay and cut around it, as I'm doing in the video right now. Another way I like to do it is actually draw what I'm going to be making on my iPad, and then I print it out to scale, cut around that drawing, and use that as a stencil. The third way is if I actually want to keep the stencil for a while because I'm going to be using it a lot, I'll actually just freehand cut the design out of a piece of clay rather than paper. Then I will bake the clay and I will keep that piece of clay as a stencil. The fourth and final way I do it is an alternative for an intricate design that may be a little bit more difficult to cut out of paper. I will actually just not cut the design out. I will place it over the clay and I will make an imprint on the clay by lightly tracing over it, as you can see me doing here in the video, and then I will cut where the imprint is. As you can see, this is a smaller, more intricate design, so it's a little bit hard for me to cut the paper out to the correct shape with this one. Your edges won't be quite as smooth when you're cutting the design out with a knife rather than using a clay cutter, so just make sure you smooth them out with your finger before you bake them, or you can sand them off after you bake them. Okay, let's talk about different items that you can bake clay onto. The main one that I use being glass. However, I started out by baking onto terracotta. And you can also bake onto things like this, which is just a little ceramic pot. So we'll start with the one that I started with. So these are just little terracotta planters that I bought from Bunnings, super cheap, and it's a great base for polymer clay. I will usually put Sculpey Bacon Bond over the top of this, and then I will start putting the clay pieces over that. The reason why these things are okay and great to bake on is because the polymer clay bakes at a relatively low temperature. So I use Sculpey Primo, which bakes at 130 degrees Celsius, and terracotta specifically, which is what I'm putting the clay on in the background here, can 100% withstand that temperature. You won't get any damage to the terracotta at all. So this is one of the earlier ones that I made, and I pretty much fully cover the whole terracotta. So I'm just using it as a base to build my design up around. Okay, so next I'll talk about this little ceramic pot that I got. So I got this because I wanted a white base and I wanted to add designs to this. Similarly to the terracotta, I put Sculpey Bacon Bond on top and then I put the clay over it. That was the one I made. I wasn't happy with the overall look, so I never ended up really doing it again. However, it's a great idea if you want to give it a go. I got these from Kmart in the craft section. So they just have them in there as, I think they're just called like ceramic DIY vase or something like that. And finally, my favorite method is using glass jars. So there's nothing special about this glass. It's just any old glass jar, and I cover them in clay and make them into vases. Whenever I post a video of me using a glass jar, like covering the glass jar with the clay and then baking it, people will say, oh, how do you take the glass out? Won't the glass explode? Okay, number one, we don't take the glass out, we leave it in. Number two, no, the glass will not explode, it won't crack. I'm not a glass expert, but I just don't think that the temperature that you're baking the clay at is really hot enough to cause any damage to the glass. Sometimes people say that the glass cracks because of like a shock in the temperature change. So you should put the vase or the glass jar in the oven and then turn it on to warm it up and then leave it in the oven while the oven cools down. I've never done that and it's never broken for me. So I don't know the science behind it, but it just works. I can only speak on my experience, and I've done so many of these and I've never ever had one crack or break. I've even done it with a vase, which was much thinner glass rather than a glass jar, and that didn't crack either. So yeah, that's my experience. Give it a go if you like. Proceed at your own risk. Not that I think this is very risky, but I think it's a great base for making a vase or anything, really. I actually really love the weight that it gives it as well, because if you work with polymer clay, you'll know it's actually very light, and I don't want a vase that is light and that's going to tip over with flowers in it. So I love having the glass in there because it just makes it quite heavy. Do you know what? That is all the tips I've got for you today. Thank you if you got through the whole video. And if you want to ask me any questions, ask me and I'll answer them. Or if you want me to make a video about something else, suggest it and I might make it. All right, that's all for today. Thank you guys. Bye.